So yeah, I haven't been entirely honest with you guys. Remember last week when I said, so if the main piece of media connected to an episode is from the MCU, don't expect the sharpest of critique of anyone for or against what said movie did. Yeah, I feel I'm still gonna keep true to this. Then why did I bring it up? Just getting ahead of the narrative, the issue I'm addressing in this video is not about something the movie actually did. It's how some people are interpreting something the movie did. So I'm using that as my loophole. What I haven't been entirely honest with you guys about is that the issue I'm about to address is actually what sparked this series. I watched a review of Spider-Man No Way Home right after I saw the movie on opening day, and there was a take that really annoyed me. So much so that I was going to make a video about it. Now, it wouldn't have been the exact format that Deeper Dive has, but it was the seed that blossomed into the rose that grew from concrete. Back to the take. The reason I was so supremely annoyed is because I absolutely hate when people take positions that make me have to agree with people whom I would consider the scum of the earth. You know, the bigots, the people who are racist against minorities, etc. So I believe it is time for our very first disclaimer. This video is not a video supporting any type of misogyny or bigotry or continuing any dangerous power structures. It is about an individual and a double standard that may at best be a blind spot and at worst people overcorrecting. Let's set the scene. I just finished watching Spider-Man No Way Home, and it was a masterclass on event-level movie making. I'm hyped from watching a movie that gave me very similar feelings to Endgame in how it was the culmination of a story that had been told over a decade plus. Because of the type of fan that I am, I immediately wanted to know what other informed and interested fans thought about it. I didn't know where I could reliably find that type of fan since the movie was so fresh, so I settled for YouTube movie critics. Now, there are a ton of channels dedicated to that type of thing that I follow with various personalities among the lot. Some of their takes I generally agree with, some not so much. As of making this video, I can't find the specific video I originally found this take in. I had calmed down since watching it and never saved it. Wasn't going to make a video about it. Sure, I've seen some people on Twitter since then who shared this same take, but for the most part, I was just gonna let it go. Then today I stumbled across a video on my YouTube homepage that immediately triggered me. The title was, No Way Home was kind of sexist. Something told me that if I was ever gonna do this video, this was my best opportunity. Since the movie came out this year, here's the obligatory spoiler alert, though I'm sure you could figure out by now that they're coming. Now, there are absolutely some things about the movie that I can understand people saying is sexist. One of the things in question is if it passes the Bechdel test. What is that? It's a simple test for women's representation in media. The 3 questions are as follows. Are there 2 female characters? Some people require they be named, others don't. Do they have a conversation? Is that conversation about anything other than a male? Doesn't seem like a lot to ask for, right? Well, here are some recent movies that, according to the site, do not pass. The Adam Project, Morbius, Uncharted, Free Guy, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, Red Notice, Sing 2, Bad Boys for Life, One Night in Miami, The Irishman, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Uncut Gems. If you are familiar, some of those movies are written by, directed by, or produced by women. Some have a co-male-female lead. It just goes to show that representation comes in many layers, and it's simultaneously a problem that will never be solved, and that should never stop being worked on. According to the site, No Way Home actually passes, but there are people who argue about that. We're not doing that here. Another thing about the movie that I've seen people say, and I understand how it can be viewed as sexist, is the treatment of Aunt May. While I don't agree, I've definitely seen compelling arguments, and as someone who isn't a part of the affected group, it's not my place to tell them that they're wrong about how they feel about a specific event that we can prove happened. But here's the thing. The take that has ruffled my feathers so much is about what happened when Peter chose not to try and remind MJ of who he was. To the video.
They're in a committed relationship with no problems, and that's true for 100% of this movie. They love each other, they share their lives, they're perfect for each other.
That's kind of a novel take on relationships in movies, right? Like, I'm not really sure if he considers this a good thing or a bad thing, particularly because he does this. But I consider it a net positive. Let's move on.
What MJ notably doesn't do is ever complain about being Peter Parker's girlfriend.
She's almost the definition of a ride or die, like MJ basically is in the comics. It's kind of true to the character type. Let's step back for a second. This part isn't so novel. Definitely not in comic stories. Generally, in any stories where there's a hero, the hero's significant other isn't complaining to them about the danger. The closest you get are the ones who may express concern for the hero's well-being. Let's continue.
Okay, so this is a big sacrifice for Peter. Sure, everyone forgets him. He's all alone. That sucks. What a big sacrifice you're making to save the world.
Way to undersell it. He's only the main character of the story, so yes, the things that affect him and his reactions to them are of the utmost importance.
It's also sad for Ned, but Ned will be fine. He's a very self-satisfied person. He has like hobbies and like a family. Like he's chill.
Oh, so the guy will be just fine. I know you wouldn't dare insist after you just said
she was unpopular and abrasive and comfortable with conflict before Peter, before Spider-Man. She's not gonna suddenly wilt under adversity,
thus establishing her as a strong individual that somehow she would be incapable of dealing.
But this mind wipe is taking away a significant portion of Michelle Jones Watson's soul?
Wow. Okay, you know what? I will refrain from being reductive, and as my payment, we'll pretend you didn't just do that.
When we first met her, she was lonely and edgy and closed off, and then over the course of this trilogy, she developed into an open person that's capable of being vulnerable and intimate.
Yes, Peter definitely played a big part in that. So did Ned. But the thing is, if these are things that have been fundamentally changed in her, she isn't going to suddenly revert back to that just because Peter isn't around. Her and Ned clearly have a good relationship still, and I can't stress this enough. She doesn't know she lost anyone. It's not a thing that happened. Therefore, it can't really be this traumatic event you are making it out to be.
And she begs her boyfriend to come find her and bring her back to this place where she preferred to be.
She begs him. Okay.
And then when he goes to do it, he sees she's got a boo-boo and is actually like, fuck that bitch. She's got a band-aid. She doesn't need agency.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The insane take that I've seen way too often for my taste, that seems to be trying so hard to not fall into the classic traps of misogyny that it stumbles into gaslighting. Peter robbed MJ of her agency. No. Hell no. That's not how any of this works. First of all, just in case I wasn't clear earlier, the very idea of painting a woman, particularly one who has been shown to be very capable and independent, as some small, delicate flower is sexist. Second, Merriam-Webster defines agency as the capacity, condition, or state of acting or of exerting power. So, someone's agency is their ability to do things, particularly to choose to do them. List of ways you can rob someone of their agency. Exerting your physical power over someone to get them to do something. Check. Blackmail. Check. Intimidation. Check. Coercion. Check. Guilt trips? If intentional. Check. Me choosing not to do something that affects my life just as much, if not more than yours, is not me robbing you of your agency, no matter how much you may want me to make a different decision. What would be accurate to say is that MJ didn't get what she wanted. And this is one of the issues of trying to apply things we want from real life to movies. There is a narrative. There are plots. There are continuations. And like I stated earlier, most importantly, there are main characters. You not being happy that someone who isn't the main character didn't get what they wanted is not equal to the movie robbing someone of their agency. Yeah, so I promise next week will absolutely be a lighter video because these past 2 weeks, particularly this one, have been a little heavy. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.